London is the place for me. London, this lovely city. You can go to France.
Commonwealth citizens were vitally important to the prosperity of the British Empire. Many of them had also fought for Britain during the war, including a large number who lost their lives. In 1948, the British Nationality Act gave 800 million people in the Commonwealth the right to claim British citizenship. Britain needed workers, since many men had died in World War II. The NHS was launched in 1948 and needed labour and constantly advertised in Commonwealth countries to attract new workers. Just after World War II ended in 1945, the first groups of post-war immigrants from the Caribbean began to settle in Britain. From the 1950s into the 1960s, there was a mass migration of workers from many English-speaking countries in the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica, who settled in Britain. These immigrants were invited to fill labour requirements in London's hospitals, railways and other areas of work. They are widely viewed as having been a major contributing factor to the rebuilding of the post-war London economy. The arrival of the Windrush was the start of a period of migration from the Caribbean to Britain that did not slow down until 1962. By 1955, 18,000 Jamaicans had moved to Britain. This outward flow of people to settle in Britain was an important event in the history of both the West Indies and Britain. Caribbean migrants have become a vital part of British society and in the process transformed important aspects of British life.
Hi, I'm Bay. I'm 8 years old. This is my grandma Eunice. She came down to England in the 60s. Let's find out some more. So why did Grandma and Granddad come down to England on the Windrush?
Well, they came over here for a better life, Bay. More opportunities. Grandma, she became a matron in a hospital, and Granddad was a train driver.
So who looks after you when you were in the West Indies?
My grandma Rose looked after me because my mum and dad had to save up money to bring me here to England.
So what does that picture mean? What are you wearing?
Well, these are the clothes that I'm wearing from when I came over here, Bay. But it was cold and it was in November and they had snow all on the floor, and I had to ask the attendant, what's all this on the floor? Why is it all white? And she said, that's snow. And I said, snow? What snow?
So is it always sunny in the West Indies?
Yes, it is always sunny, as you can see by this picture here, where it's full of greenery and the sunshine.
What was the first meal you had?
We had fish and chips, Bay. And you're not going to believe this, Bay, but we ate it out of newspaper.
Newspapers? Didn't they have any plates?
Well, they had plates, but they said that the fish and chips taste better out of the newspaper.
One day, can we go to the West Indies? Grandma?
Of course we can, Bay.
Today, their descendants and new immigrants to the country still suffer the effects of discrimination and racism, which may not always be obvious. For example, they may often find it more difficult to get jobs or receive the same standards of justice as white British people. Some of the effects of racism are more obvious. Recently, the government was forced to apologise for what has been called the Windrush scandal, in which people who've lived in Britain ever since immigrating decades ago have been wrongly arrested, denied legal rights, threatened with deportation, and sometimes even wrongly deported from the UK by the Home Office. We live in a multi-racial Britain. The huge contributions made by the various immigrant communities to Britain's economic and social development since the Second World War are beginning to be widely recognised. Their role in creating a more diverse and tolerant society is indisputable.
1998 marked 50 years of the arrival of that famous ship called Windrush, an iconic and memorable moment in post-war Caribbean migration. But let us not forget that black people were here in Roman times, Carthaginians, Libyans. And during 1998, to mark the 50th anniversary, I was at the BBC as poet in residence. And the youngest passenger on that ship, his name was Vince Reed, aged 13. And it was a very touching moment for me to return with Vince Reed 50 years later as a grown man back to Tilbury Docks where the ship arrived. And that moment was filmed, and I did this poem for Blue Peter. Since that time, sadly, Vince Reed has died. I dedicated the poem to him, one of the Windrush pioneers, and I imagine that moment when this 13-year-old boy leaves to go on this ship. Windrush child, behind you, Windrush child, palm trees wave goodbye. Above you, Windrush child, seabirds asking why. Around you, Windrush child, blue water rolling by. Beside you, Windrush child, your Windrush mom and dad think of story time yard and mango mornings, new beginnings, doors closing and opening. Will things turn out right? At least the ship will arrive in midsummer light, and you, Windrush child, think of grandmother telling you, don't forget to write. And with one last hug, walk good, and the sea's wheel carries on spinning. And from that place, England, you tell her in a letter of your Windrush adventure, stepping in a big ship, not knowing how long the journey, or that you're stepping into history, bringing your Caribbean eye to another horizon. Grandmother's words, your shining beacon, learning how to fly the kite of your dreams in an English sky. Learning how to fly the kite of your dreams in an English sky. Windrush child, walking good in a mind-opening meeting of snow and sun.
Hello everybody.
Hello.
I love that poem, Windrush Child by John Agard. I know lots of you have been finding out about Windrush and the Windrush generation this week. I've loved the pictures of the work that you've been doing. That poem really makes you feel what it must have been like to be on that boat and to say goodbye to people. And I think it's amazing how poetry and stories can help you remember and help you say goodbye to people. So today, the story that we're reading is called The Grandad Tree by Trish Cook. And just so you know, before you listen to this story, the grandad in this story dies. So you might have had someone in your life who you love who might have died. And this book does make you think about that. So just so you know, before you read the story, you might not want to listen to it right now. But if you think you do, it's definitely something to listen to with a grown-up so you can talk to about how you feel afterwards. Okay, here we go. The Grandad Tree by Trish Cook, and illustrated, the illustrations are beautiful, beautiful, by Sharon Wilson. There is a tree at the bottom of Lee's garden, an apple tree. Vin, Lee's big brother, said it started as a seed and then grew and grew. And Vin said, that tree, where they used to play with Grandad, that apple tree will be there forever. Their Grandad was a baby once. And he grew and he grew. And Vin said Grandad went to school and he climbed coconut trees and looked out at the sea from the top. And when he was a man, he was a husband for their gran, and a dad for their mam, and Auntie Melissa and Uncle Victor, and then a granddad for them. That's life, their granddad used to say. In the spring, the apple tree is covered in blossom. In the summer, the apples grow. In the autumn, the leaves fall off. In the winter, it is covered in snow. And sometimes, things die, like trees, like people, like Grandad. They don't go away forever. They stay because we remember. Lee planted a seed for Grandad just beside the apple tree, and when she is sad, Vin takes her hand and he waters the seed with Lee, and it will grow and grow, and it will go through changes, and they'll love it forever and ever. Just like they'll always love Grandad. Isn't that a beautiful story, Sammy? What did you think?
It was good.
It was good. What did you like about it?
When they grew that plant next to the apple tree.
They grew a tree next to their granddad's tree to help them remember. Yeah? What did it make you think of?
My granddad,
Oh yeah,
he died.
he did, didn't he? But it's good how stories of people that you tell can make you remember, can't they? Yeah? Yeah, it's clever. It's amazing how stories can do that, and they can really help look after and heal our hearts, can't they? Yeah? Well, the weather is crazy, isn't it? It's so hot. That's why I'm wearing my hat. I hope you guys are wearing hats in this hot weather and putting sun cream on, but I am hoping you're getting about. Have we enjoyed the weather, Sam?
Yeah.
Well, we've got to stay safe. So do look after yourselves, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.